Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar of Green Tourism, How to Prosper Sri Lanka. I warmly welcome our speakers who are with us today. We have Dr. Sanjay Nadkarni, Director of Innovation and Research, joining from Dubai Emirates Academy of Hospitality Management. And we have Dr. Wedathanthrige, the research consultant, the value chain and local economic development, connecting from Australia. And we have Mr. Refan Razin, the General Manager of the Noorelia Grand Hotel. And again, we have Mr. Ramitha Wijethunga, who's a National Project Coordinator for Biodiversity Finance Initiative, joining from United Nations Development Project. First of all, the green tourism is one of the most highlighted, important topics going around the global right now. Each and every industry, each and every organization is looking for new ways, paths to encourage the sustainability in their workplaces. So today, what we will be doing, as I introduce the speakers, we will be discussing about green finance, and again we will be discussing the green hospitality, and we'll be discussing again the global partnerships and innovations as well. So first of all, I would like to invite Professor Sanjay Nadkarni. I'd like to give an introduction about him because he's one of the professors who are working closely with us at the University of Colombo. So Professor Sanjay, his interest is like, his analytics, digital and sustainability in the service sector. Actually, his portfolio comprises applied research and advisory and consultancy assignment for corporate, government and multilateral agencies. In addition to his teaching practices, it includes visiting professorships in premier academic institutions in Asia and Europe as well. So today he will be discussing about the smart application for green tourism, because as a country who's based on tourism, which is Sri Lanka, has to have a lead when it comes to the green tourism. So, Professor, if you can enlighten us on how we can merge the smart technology and making a better place when it comes to green tourism in Sri Lanka. Professor?
Thank you for the introduction and of course for having me speak at this panel. It's my honor and pleasure to be here. And coming to your question about greening Sri Lanka with technology, it's a long drawn process. We live in an industrial 4.0 age. We've been through the first industrial revolution, starting with the steam engine. And today we are in an era where there is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, robotics, all these cutting edge technologies. So how do we leverage these technologies in terms of sustainable tourism? That is the key issue that we are looking at here. I think Sri Lanka is very well positioned given its dependence on tourism, but also the maturity of its tourist market. And the scale at which Sri Lanka operates makes it kind of a living laboratory, if I may put it that way, because there is lots of experiments or proof of concepts in terms of technology applications and environment going on all over the world. And I think when it comes specifically to applications in tourism, Sri Lanka is best positioned among all the tourism dependent economies. So I think this is an opportunity. COVID is an opportunity to accelerate this digital transformation driven sustainability initiative. I think you're muted. It happens.
Yes. As we're going forward, Professor, now since you mentioned COVID is one of the great opportunities that we can reshape the green tourism in Sri Lanka. So, what will be the role or the responsibility of the educators when it comes to this green tourism? So, how will they see and how can they contribute?
Yeah, see, educators have a key role to play because all Oh, I think I muted it. Oh, all right. No, I'm not muted. I just want to make sure. Educators have a key role to play in the formative stages of the next generation of industry stakeholders. Because as Professor Suranga mentioned, we've become so used to this pattern of overconsumption, bigger the better, the more lavish the better. Yeah, we have to change this mindset. And when it comes to looking at the sustainable elements, we're not just talking about environmental sustainability. Of course, that's the major thrust, but we also have to balance it with economic and social. So this is what we typically would call the triple bottom line. And education systems have to accordingly adapt. For instance, how many of us actively promote environment sustainability into our course curricula? How many of us have dedicated courses? How many dissertations do we produce at postgraduate level? And then it's not just about living in academic ivory towers. How can these be actually applied in a real world context to enable the industry to kind of practice what the academia preaches? This is something which is pretty pertinent, and that's where the role of academics and education becomes very important.
Yes, as a university, as like educators, we always depend on researchers. Actually, you are one of the highly recognized research personnel. So, is it when we do the research, as you mentioned, sir, it has to be applied. But the university role, what we do is like we produce knowledge to the industry. What I would like to get from you is, sir, how can what is the advice that you have for the professionals in the industry and for the individuals when it comes to the green tourism applications?
All right. See, the process of education never ends. We are forever learners. We are perpetual learners. So I think it's very important for the people in the industry to keep themselves abreast of what are the latest trends, how, for instance, technology, because that's my forte, that's where I come in from, how digital technologies can help accelerate sustainable initiatives or any other initiatives which touch upon what I call the triple bottom line, right? The economic, social, and environmental. So from that perspective, universities have a very key role to play to ensure that what's happening in the latest trends, maybe in different sectors, which are way ahead of hospitality and tourism, the best practices are actually brought into play in tourism and hospitality. Industry practitioners are made aware of these best practices and then actually handhold them together. So it's not an academic ivory tower that just produces research papers, but it actually has a tangible impact. So this is where industry and academia can work hand in hand and kind of complete the stakeholder value chain.
Thank you, Professor. And even the Colombo University, the tourism study program has created the International Tourism Research Conference, where you are a big part of it. And like what always do is like we produce the knowledge and we let it go to the world. So thank you, Professor.
I know you folks are doing a stellar job, by the way. Congratulations to all of you. I've been associated with University of Colombo now for almost half a decade. It's because of COVID I couldn't visit over the last couple of years, but I do look forward to kind of making a more coming back again to beautiful Sri Lanka.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Next, I would like to move to Dr. Haritha Wedathanthrige, where he's connecting from Australia. Actually, he is running a project over there. But as I was discussing with him, like he will come to Sri Lanka in another 1 year's time. So let me tell a little bit about Dr. Haritha. So he has been working as a research consultant on value chain and local economic development in New South Wales, Australia. He has key areas of expertise. His expertise are green economy and sustainable development, organizational sustainability, value chain and local economic development, and rural livelihoods. So he's having this, he has a range of research experience when it comes to qualitative and especially business research and quantitative research as well. So, Doctor, welcome. Um, um, what we would like to know from you, if you like the knowledge that you would like to share. Uh, what is green financing? If you can enlighten us, just to start the discussion, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much, Madushan, having me, and thank you, Professor, having me and giving me an invitation for this discussion. Uh, I'm really happy to brought your attention on the green financing, but before that, I would like to talk about something about the backgrounds of the context. The green financing is something not just parachuting from other financial ends. It's gradually evolving over the period with the economic development and with the climate crisis. So with all that, I would like the next couple of minutes time, I would like to share with you a presentation. So then we can continue the discussions further. The green financing is mainly the focus on the sustainability. Sustainability in the sense that we are not focused into the anything that to harm the environment. So it makes sure no harm for the environment. It makes sure no harm for the society and the humanity. And at the same time, it makes sure that there is no liabilities in our balance sheet. It is an opportunity from the growth to sustainability. So as simple as green finance is an opportunity for from growth to sustainability.
Yes. Um, Doctor, you were discussing about a framework, a policy for the green financing. So I know, like when it comes to the other countries who are very focused on the environment, they have a policy framework. Even in Sri Lanka, we do have. So, what is your thought about it? Like when it comes to the financing policy framework?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Madushan. So it's really important having a policy because policy is the main thing and macro interventions. So macro intervention is playing a major role in the transformation and the transition from the current economic scenario or current economic development to the turning into the green economic development. So in this context, the policy framework is really important because it gives us a real directions. So that directions tell us that where we need to go, where we can go, and how we can go. So achieve the sustainable development goals and the sustainability. Therefore, policy framework is very, very important. It's a roadmap for all of us to move forward. So many countries, they incorporate because there are several policies in several sectors, several industries. So all these things connecting and right directions because the tourism is not the single sector, it's connected with the multi-sectors. So there are several links. So policies we need a clear policy by connecting and integrating all together to have clear directions and clear way forward for all of us to move forward.
Yes, Doctor. Now you are again you're a highly recognized a scholar, a researcher. Um, how do you connect the knowledge and the skill development in Sri Lankan tourism when it comes to green financing? Because we have a lot of resources as how we understand and experience. We don't see much of practices going on. People need more awareness. There's opportunity of awareness, I would like to say. So how will you um, emphasize the fact that like we have to we have to contribute the knowledge and skill development when it comes to Sri Lankan tourism, sir?
Yes. So forget out about the finance, so green finance, the skill development. The skills are the real need for for this transition. So we need new skill sets because technology play a major role to achieve the sustainable development, achieve the sustainability. So we have to develop the skills for the new business practices, sustainable business practices. We have to focus on, without developing any skills, we can't move forward to achieve the sustainable development goal. Maybe what we call the technology replacements or smart technology. So all kind of things, we need new knowledge and skills, how to move forward. For that, we need money, we need resources. So that is why the skill, for the skill developments, we need finance. So that's, if you use the finance for the development of skills for the sustainable practices or move forward towards the triple bottom line. So that will be green financing. So for the sustainable development or skill development. So we can't move forward without skills.
Agree, doctor. Because it's all about human. It's about all about knowledge, how we can contribute to the society when it comes to keeping our resources for the next generations. Doctor, would you like to go ahead with your presentation?
Yes. So may I start?
Yes, please.
Can I share my slides?
Yes, sir.
All right. So once again, very good evening to everybody. So let me briefly give you an outline of my talk today. First, I will talk about the backgrounds of green economic growth and climate crisis, the needs of green economic transformation, and why we need the transition in tourism industry. Then I will move forward with the green finance, the broader perspectives, financial instruments in the market, and opportunity from growth to sustainability, and finally, way forward. You may have very strong views on this topic, the economic growth and climate crisis. Let me quickly revisit all of them. The increasing emissions of greenhouse gases cause further warming and long-lasting changes around the world. So this graph shows that over the centuries of data shows that average global temperature has been increasing over the periods. This means our world is heating up. The scientist says that anthropogenic activities or human activities are the dominant cause for this heating up. Why this is happening? The fossil fuel energy-based economy and the growth. So we burn fossil fuels, the coal, natural gases, and oil that produce huge amount of carbon dioxide or what we call carbon emissions. So our growth pattern is a linear model. It is so-called take, use, waste model, or we call linear economy. We take resources, make the things, and then waste. So it heavily depends on the fossil fuel and earth finite natural resources. Many years of leading business organizations in the global economy, their actions irresponsibly focus on the short-term profits while turning a blind eyes to the destructive human, environmental, and economic impacts. This corporate greed has been created as an iceberg at the cost of invisible cost. So this invisible cost created the profit for us at the cost of global warming and climate change, environmental pollution, and resource depletion. It has created many crises from food and water insecurity to extreme weather events. So this earned profit is unable to compensate this invisible cost. Now currently we have been experiencing a pandemic and we can understand the reality very clearly. What result in next? The scientist has provided enough evidence to say climate change was real. Climate change is real. climate is changing. The regional and global climate systems have been changing. So we have been experiencing climate hazards, cyclones, floods, landslides, crop damages, droughts. If this carbon emission continuously increase, there will be a high risk of increasing frequent occurrence of natural disasters. Who is responsible for this? The economies who produce high volume of carbon dioxide or carbon emissions. Who are the most vulnerable? The low-income and middle-income countries or poor economies. So let me bring some examples. The South Asia, the changes of monsoonal pattern leads to the climate hazards such as floods, droughts, and cyclone. In 2019, Sri Lanka was ranked as the second country of the Global Climate Risk Index. So we can understand where we are right now. So that's why we have to focus on unseen drivers, and we have to refocus on triple bottom line. We need to identify and work within the planetary boundaries for social well-being, ecological well-being, and economic well-being. So research provides enough experience that our world has been exceeded the carrying capacity of planetary boundaries right now. So that's why we have to refocus on unseen drivers of environmental aspects, the economic aspects, and social aspects for the sustainability. Sustainability is no longer an option. It is the new normal. So the Sustainable Development Goals provide us global frameworks to work together towards the triple bottom line. In this case, the green economy plays a very important role. Green economy does not replace the sustainable development. It's overwhelming, break the sustainable development. It focuses to break the resource-intensive growth model and transformation of consumption and production into more sustainable pattern. And it's a focus to transformation of demand and supply in the market into more sustainable pattern. And it significantly reduced the environmental risk and ecological scarcity and low carbon production. And it enhanced to resource efficiency and social inclusive economy. Altogether, green economy focus well-being, social equity, and values of human and nature as the center of economic development and the growth. How does it work? As linear economic model, the green economy also driven by the public-private investment. This is where the green finance is involving. This engine of growth or this machine work to reduce the carbon emission and pollution. It works to enhance the energy efficiency and resource efficiency. This engine works for the protect the biodiversity and ecosystem service, and it generates growth in income and employment. The green economic transition. For this transition, we need macro interventions as well as micro interventions. Macro interventions at the government level, the policies and strategies, the laws and regulations and macro programs. At the same time, micro interventions are also important at the organizational level, individual level, even societal level. All these, together with all these macro interventions and micro interventions, the transition takes place with changes in the business model, changes in the operations and practices, and replacement of technology, new technologies. So that is what we call smart technology. And altogether, behavioral changes in the society. All these things taking place together in this transition to switching towards the sustainable consumption and production pattern. So for all these macro and micro interventions where we need finance, that is what we call the green finance. So now there's a big question. Why we need a transition in tourism? As we know, with the global tourism growth, many negative impacts of tourism on natural and social environment, due to industry response for the growing demand, accommodation, travel, and entertainment. The tourism is becoming one of the industries that contribute for the most global impacts on climate change. This graph shows the projections of carbon emission in tourism industry. So graph clearly shows that there is a gradual increase of, drastic increase of carbon emissions with the tourism growth. It has been projected. So excessive consumption of natural resources, as well as excessive waste productions observed in the industry over the past period. Let me show you another example. So this is the famous destination in Bali. The rivers are under pressure in Bali. Tourists per capita generate 3.5 times more waste than the locals. So we can understand where we are right now in the industry. The consequences. It is very clear right now. The financing in business as usual activities are no longer sustainable. It contributes more carbon emissions, more waste generation, and excessive use of resources. It creates more problems than profit at the cost of social and environmental destruction. It is neither sustainable or ethical. Therefore, we need to break this cycle of growth, so-called take, use, and waste, to achieve the sustainable development. So green finance has an important role to break this cycle of growth. Green finance, as I already make sure there is no harm for the environment. It makes sure there is no harm for the society and the humanity. At the same time, it ensures that there is no liabilities in our balance sheets. So green finance is not philanthropical basis of financing. It is an opportunity from growth to sustainability. Green finance aims to promoting a green economic transformation towards a low carbon, sustainable environment and social inclusive pathways to climate resilient. The main goal is to internalize social and environmental activities and reduce the risk. So any financial instruments used for the sustainable development projects, initiatives, and environmental products, so involved with the green financing. It helps to ensure green investments over the business as usual investments that's responsible for the unsustainable patterns of this development. So more broadly, the financing public and private green investments in environmental goods and services and preventing damages are involving with green finance. The financing of public policies to mitigation and adaptation is also involved with the green finance. And there are some financial instruments in green finance. So all together, it's encouraged a long-term thinking of investments to achieve the sustainable. The concept of green financing integrate the sustainable development values as well as sustainable development goals into the financial instruments in order to develop and implement sustainable business model. The sustainable business model generate triple bottom line, the social bottom line, environmental bottom line, and economic or financial bottom line. So there are a wide range of financial products and services in green financing, the investments, banking, and insurance. Let's discuss about a few instruments, the green bonds. So these are the dedicated bonds. Green bonds are dedicated for the sustainable development works. The money raised to be invested into the green projects. So standard green bonds are working in this way. The bond issuers raise the capital and then invest in the green projects. So green projects generate the social outcomes, environmental outcomes, as well as financial outcomes. Then bond issuers repay. That's how the green bonds work in the market. So green bonds mainly used for the renewable energy projects, energy efficiency or clean transportation or responsible waste management and sustainable business practices, skill development for the sustainable practices, as well as sustainable sourcing, sustainable agriculture, sustainable fisheries, sustainable supply chain management, the waste management, and many other sustainable business practices. The second instrument is the green loan. It is not the bond, but this loan is dedicated use to green projects, similar to the green bonds. And another instrument is the sustainable insurance product. The sustainable insurance solutions are available for many activities. The sustainable agricultural sustainable solutions, mobility solutions, environmental liability solutions, renewable energy solutions, or energy efficiency solutions. There are many sustainable insurance products available in the market. The green financing and sustainable tourism. The green finance has an important role to play in supporting the transition to low carbon and resource efficient and socially inclusive sustainable development in tourism industry. Financing nature-based solutions address a range of societal challenges, both mitigation and adaptations for resilience. We have been using nature-based solutions since long period of time. We use green infrastructure, natural infrastructure, ecosystem-based adaptation, ecosystem-based mitigation. So all these things come up with the green-based solutions. In tourism, so it brings us, nature-based solutions brings us many opportunities from growth to sustainability, energy efficient transition, water management solutions, waste management solutions, biodiversity conservations, the cultural heritage management, sustainable sourcing and sustainable supply chain management, green buildings, the adaptation of responsible business practices, integration of tourism and with local community and their livelihoods, strengthening the local consumer base through the affordable domestic tourist market. This is very important opportunity. So we have been experiencing a global pandemic with the restrictions of international travel. So that all countries' tourism mainly depend on the domestic tourist market. So this is very great opportunity. So what is the return of investment from the green finance in sustainable tourism? As we know, the revenue minus cost is our profit margin. If we can minimize the cost of here through green practices, enhancing energy efficiency, enhancing water use efficiency, reducing wastages of material flow, we can still boost the profit margin in here. So it brings us profit margin through the utility saving. And at the same time, with the green practices, so we can make sure the customer satisfaction and reducing the reputational risk. And also in long term, we can ensure the energy supply. So let me show you a business case for the green building. This business case has been developed by the International Financial Corporation, IFC. It is the private sector arm of World Bank. As we know, the utility bills are the larger percentage of operating cost in hotels. For this case study, there are many cities in different countries involved. The Colombo is one of the city. So I think the 4-star hotels are considered for this case study. According to this case study, the 12% of the utility bills goes to cost goes to for the utility bills to taking green measures to enhance the 20% of efficiency in these hotels. The incremental cost or additional cost required is something around $150,000. And it, after alteration of all these green practices and reaching to this efficiency, the utility savings monthly, it brings nearly $13,000 monthly. So the payback period is nearly 1 year. So the nature-based solution is not only the green building, it has multiple benefits. It has many activities. So nature-based solutions brings us biodiversity conservation, local livelihoods, food security, mental health, the carbon sequences, and other ecosystem services. So nature-based solutions is important for multiple benefits in resilience building in terms of social resilience, in terms of economic resilience, in terms of environmental resilience. So therefore, it is very important for the sustainable business practices. So I would like to bring your attention of few way forwards. So with that, we need the review and develop a policy on green tourism, the green tourism in Sri Lanka to address the existing problem. And also we need to implementation of policy implementations through financing from national budgeting, and also developing a mechanisms for the green financing. And it is very important for us, and it is a necessity that capacity building programs to strengthen the institutions and the society in supporting to resilient developments in tourism. Now, you may think and say, I think this is very important, even though I may feel that we don't have resources, we don't have set of skills, we don't have expertise. This is very common in everywhere in this transition. So one thing we have to believe, that we can make a difference. Resources, change makers, expertise, all we have to find among us. Let's ask from everyone, what are we doing today? There is no any other place for us. There is no any other place for our business. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Actually, it's really important, as you mentioned, the transition of the tourism sector in the country, because we have a huge opportunity when it comes to that. And again, as you mentioned, the framework, yes, we do have an opportunity. And again, we have to reinforce the policy framework for all the organizations as a country. And again, we will be, like, as an outcome from this webinar, we will be creating a policy paper where we will be publishing, where people can get ideas like as your valuable contribution of knowledge, sir. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Again, when it comes to the Sri Lankan green tourism, the hospitality sector plays a major role in the tourism sector. Sorry. So we have seen certain organizations are embracing the green tourism concept. To discuss that, we have a very important person here, Mr. Rifan Razim, where he's the general manager for the Nurali Grand Hotel, where he has a vast knowledge and experience. Actually, he's one of beloved hoteliers in the country, and he's working close with the University of Colombo and with Professor Suranga as well. So if I mention about Mr. Rifan, so he has a lot of key strengths when it comes to strategic and tactical marketing planning, again awareness development management, about marketing and marketing collateral developments, and new market penetrations, market research and analysis. And to mention about his career, he has worked under the capacity of general manager and above in so many iconic properties in Sri Lanka. Just to mention one is Kandalama, where they have adopted this concept, and he is one of the pioneers who worked there to strengthen that concept. Again, I welcome Mr. Rifan. So, sir, as a hotelier who's really engaged in this concept, we know that we have a lot of opportunities in the country, like the accommodation sector. The operators has a lot of opportunities to embrace this. From your point of view, what do you think? Like, where should the hospitality industry should move? What are the things that we can really apply to this green concept, sir?
Good evening, Madushan. Thank you very much. I think, first of all, I think the challenges in green hospitality, that's what you mentioned. I think the top management in green hospitality has to take some proper decisions, and they should have a vision for green hospitality. If the top management doesn't understand, it's very difficult to take this green hospitality to any organization. I think that support needs from top as well. And when it comes to finance issues, I think less investment, if you have less investment for hospitality on green, that's also very difficult for you to move forward. For example, if I tell you sewage plants, if you don't have a proper sewage plant system, you will not be able to take this forward properly in green tourism. If I take you another example, a small example, like we normally have plastic straws, right? And we ban a plastic straw and we bring in a paper straw. Plastic straw may be less expensive than a paper straw. So if you decided that paper straw is expensive and if you're not using paper straw, that's not going to be the green tourism. So we need to understand the plastic straws impact and the paper straws impact on the green tourism. People not identify the market demand for green practices. You know, even the market demand should be identified by everyone what this sustainability is all about. If you see in Sri Lanka, clients are not ready to pay that extra fee to add for green practices, but 53% globally travelers are willing to pay that for more product that they demonstrate in environment responsibility. So that's an area that we need to see on these challenges to go forward to take the challenges from green tourism. So main thing is the top management need to support down the line to take this vision forward. Thank you.
Yes, sir, true, very true. And again, now we have reached a situation which is the COVID pandemic. Most of the hotel operators are suffering, I would say, when it comes to their performances, profits, because like they are having problems with their cash flows and everything. So right now, so when it comes to this green tourism, so what will be the barriers? I would say, like, what are the opportunities that the hoteliers can think of when it comes to converting this into the like a proper green practices?
What is green hospitality? That's number one. I think that's the new norm today. Simply, it is a hotel that focuses on sustainability in its business practices, especially the business waste. Everything comes to the hotel as a business waste. You will throw a lot of things out. So you need to manage this properly to take it forward, minimizing social and economic benefits to the people and minimizing the impact of the negativeness. That's one. Minimizing benefit to cultural heritage and environment and minimizing the negative impact of that as well. That will give a big understanding to go forward in the green hospitality.
Okay, sir. So you are a person who has implemented your ideology. So you have proven that in certain organizations that when it comes to implementation. So any last message to the industry, for the hotel operators or for the academia when it comes to so what will your opinion, your message to the whole world, sir, please?
I think as hoteliers today, the hotel industry has changed a lot. And today, hotel industry, if you see, everyone wants to be sustainable. Today, school children want to be sustainable. So I think everyone has understand for us to live in this earth, sustainability is the way forward. And actually it's a way of life and a lifestyle today. So I think we need to work hard and practice this and educate everyone on sustainability. That's the way forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. As you said,
I have a presentation.
yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir. So you're saying something?
Sorry, I do have a small presentation.
Yes, sir.
I do have a small presentation to present. Is it?
Sure, please, sir. Please, please. You can share, sir.
Good evening once again. My topic is green hospitality, making Sri Lankan tourism unmatchable. Secretary General of UNWTO said sustainability must not longer be a niche part of tourism, but must be a new norm of every part of our sector. This is one of our central elements of our global guidelines to restart tourism. It is in our hand to transform tourism, and that emerging from COVID-19 become a turning point for sustainability. I think today's topic is a very important topic for all of us. I think what the Colombo University from the leadership of Professor Suranga has brought in, I think the UN Secretary's message is very clear that sustainability is the new norm for way forward. Tourism and environment goes hand in hand. When it comes to Sri Lanka, it is also well known that tourists are attracted by 5S of our country, that is sun, sea, sand, smile, and sustainability. Tourism thrives from protecting environment with all these kind of activities. What is green hospitality? I think I mentioned this in your question, so I'll just take it out from there onwards. Today, I'm going to discuss my experience. I'm going to take over 2 hotels which I have worked in my experience. So that will be my presentation today, and the experience and the touch points which we have brought in green. This is what I'm going to talk today. These 2 hotels are different from one another in green hospitality. The reason Haritha's Kandalama was designed to function as an eco-friendly hotel and Grand Hotel was not. Haritha's Kandalama, I think this is my university, which I learned the green practices 20 years ago. And I'm proud to be part of that hotel for that long time, 20 years ago. If you see, Kandalama Hotel was not designed accidentally. Mr. Jeffrey Bawa wanted to build a hotel for Edgar Spence, and Mr. Jeffrey Bawa and the late chairman, Mr. Sivaratnam, flew on helicopter, and they landed in this place where this photograph is, where you didn't have a road extent to come into this place. And Mr. Bawa said that he wants to build this hotel here. That was the beginning of Haritha's Kandalama, and at that time, Kandalama Hotel. Analysis of Haritha's Kandalama is in terms of hardware compound of the application of green hospitality. We all know that Haritha's Kandalama is referred to as a green building because of its applies environmentally friendly practices from the building design to landscaping choices. Haritha's Kandalama is a masterpiece today. The real practice of sustainability began in Kandalama in the year 1992, in parallel to the Earth Summit of Rio, Brazil in 1992 as well. They implemented 3R concept to its green practices from the foundation of the hotel's start. Before the world think about green building, Mr. Jeffrey Bawa thought about it in 1990. World famous leadership in energy and environment design LEED certification was processed and founded in 1993. So Mr. Jeffrey Bawa developed this concept and opened this hotel in 1992. So without any knowledge, this was the first LEED certified hotel out of US. So this gives a big opening for Haritha's Kandalama. I will show you a 1-minute video and to see this green destination where it stands after 25 years. This hotel, 75% of the building columns on columns. Even for rainfall from the mountains, it just cascades down. So nothing is being stopped on the environment side of this hotel. 73% of the building materials was found from 300 kilometers, inside 300 kilometers range. Making Sri Lankan tourism unmatchable, I think this is the masterpiece of Sri Lanka. And it's not only to Sri Lanka, even to Asia. I think there is a lot of tourists who come to just see this and to learn and how to take this forward. I just want to show this map. If you take Haritha's Kandalama, built in almost 1 kilometer from one end to the other end. This shows 2 wings of the hotel. From these 2 wings, one wing is called the Sigiriya wing because it's facing the Sigiriya rock. And the other wing is called Damulla wing because it's facing the Damulla rock. I just wanted to highlight something on this map, is the blue areas in this map. If you see, those are the rooms in the hotel where the 1 kilometer of Kandalama, and some areas are the restaurants. This is the only area in the hotel where you have AC. Other areas are all open. So from both sides, sunlight to the wind, everything just comes inside so that you have enough of areas of this hotel was designed to be very eco-friendly. 70% of the staff have been recruited within 20 kilometer area, providing job opportunities for the community. So 75% of the staff are from in and around Kandalama. So today, for the last 25 years, some of my colleagues who started as waiters, today are general managers. Today are food and beverage managers. Some are executive chefs. So within 25 years of time, taking staff from the village, which Kandalama belongs to. So there are a lot of development has happened to the village as well. Then animal rehabilitation center for well-being of animals in and around of Kandalama. If you see even a snake cross a road by accident and get caught to a vehicle, that is been rehabilitated at this hotel as well. So you know that snake belongs to the jungle and we leave that snake to get back to the jungle. So that also is being taken care from that way. One of the pioneering organizations to initiate Eco Park, including in-house paper recycling. I think I should give the credit to the first general manager and my first general manager as well, Mr. UC Jayathilake, who brought this concept as Eco Park to Kandalama Hotel. And they have an in-house paper recycling center within the hotel, which all the menus to all the amenities to etc. is being done through the in-house paper recycling center. Still one of the organizations in the country that maintain consistency and development of green practices. Today, if you see from day one, Moratuwa University, the engineering faculty, visit every month for some kind of a learning outcome at Heritage Kandalama, and the staff there who takes these engineering students to educate them on green practices of Kandalama. Next is my present hotel, the legendary Grand Hotel. Now I spoke to you about a place of a green destination. Today now I'm going to talk to you about a legendary Grand Hotel. So this is what my challenge is, to tell you all. Legendary Grand has a history. I'll just tell you a little bit of this history of Grand Hotel. Grand Hotel was the 5th governor when Sri Lanka was governed by the British. The 5th governor's as a residence. This was for 66 years. It ran as a residence, the Barnes Hall. And after 66 years, it was converted into a hotel. So today we are celebrating 130 years of Grand Hotel being as a hotel. So we are 196 years old. How come this hotel was not designed for sustainability that time? And now we are doing a lot of green practices. That is what I want to tell you all, so that any organization today, if you are even not designed to be a sustainable hotel, that still you can be sustainable. So I just want to take you a little bit of what Grand does, what behavioral changes and etc., so that you will understand better. Any organization, it can be big, small or medium, can be taken into sustainability and have some best practices in green. We mainly implement green concept in 2 ways: to mitigation measures with the behavioral changes and development in pertaining to the above. When it comes to environment sustainability in the hotel, we have mainly divided into 6 areas: biodiversity, greenhouse emission, energy management, water management, waste management, and supply chain management. These are the best practices of green that we do. When a guest books to a presidential suite at the hotel, we have 3 presidential suites. If a guest books a presidential suite, as a token of respect to the guest, we call it 1 night, 1 tree. The reason is, when a guest check in, we plant a tree with the guests at the Grand Farm, so that every guest who stays at the Grand Hotel plants a tree. And this has become a big thing for the guests, that they stayed in the hotel presidential suite and they have planted a tree. And they come back to the hotel to see how big is their plant. So this has given us a big impact of planting more trees with the guests' arrivals too. Switching off policies. At the Grand Hotel, we have a code of switching off policies, and we have 4 colors: black, red, green, and yellow. The black is from 6:30 to 11 p.m. Red is from 6:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. or 6 a.m. And green is 24 hours. Some areas are closed areas, which is 24 hours, and yellow is only when it's necessary. So this helps the whole hotel staff to understand in their own department how much of lights they can save and the energy side of it. So, and we do on a daily basis on the staff notice board when they arrive to work, we say how much of electricity was used yesterday and what is the cost, etc. So the whole staff knows on a daily basis what kind of a cost is being used on a daily basis. Mindfulness drinking. This idea came from one of our staff. Actually, she's our learning and development manager, Shenali. She brought this idea of mindfulness drinking as well. And we are doing this for 2 years. Guess water glasses are filled only on request for the second time. Otherwise, as a service, all hotels, what we do is we fill 3/4 of the glass, and most of the time the guest doesn't drink. Just imagine if you have 200 guests for dinner and 200 guests for breakfast and 100 guests for lunch, how much of water will be wasted on this whole exercise. So what we do is we ask the guests on request for guests, and we save this water in liters for daily. And we encourage our staff also when they are at their staff dining areas as well, pour what you can drink and drink everything what you pour. So that helps us, and this has become a big limelight at the Grand Hotel of mindfulness drinking. This is very small, maybe very small. The impact is very big. So the staff also thinks a lot how you can contribute to the environment. It's not just a policy, it's a way of life. Even the guest talks about this big, because when they come for dinner, and when we serve this, and when we come for breakfast, they say, I need to drink all my water without wasting. So it's an education thing as well from one side, mindfulness drinking. Single-use plastic zone. The staff entrance is being dedicated as a single-use plastic zone. No shopping bags beyond this point. So we don't bring any shopping bags inside the hotel, so that the whole hotel doesn't carry any shopping bags. And we started this about 2 years ago, and it has become very helpful for us. And staff today are not carrying shopping bags even to their houses, etc. So that has helped us to take it beyond. It's not only at the Grand Hotel, even beyond Grand Hotel to their houses, etc. A movement created by hotel millennials, 40% of the staff for environment conservation, especially for reducing the usage of plastic bags. Our hotel has a millennials club. You must see a 196 years old hotel as a millennials club. This was formed about 3 years ago, the millennials club. What do you mean the millennials club? Who are born after 1990. We have about 152 staff. That's about 40% of our cadre is millennials today. And we want to increase this more as well with time on this. Today, millennials are very concerned about the environment. And we are very lucky that we have some young leaders who are driving this force forward. And we have a public-private partnership which we have created with the Norelia municipality on this no silly silly. This is again on the plastic bags. Every month we have an event with this 152 staff. They have a date. It's the second week Wednesday. Every second week Wednesday, they get together with the Norelia municipality, and there are some young clubs in Norelia have got together with all them. They clean the whole Norelia to make sure that Norelia is a clean city for tourism as well. So this has helped us take this to schools in Norelia. There are 28 schools. So our leaders in this Millennials Club go to schools also and educate the school children also how they also can contribute to the environment. This is another thing that we have introduced 3 years ago. It's like Kandalama, the eco park, because as I said, the business waste, there is a lot of business waste that we need to manage. Otherwise, we are not going to go anywhere in further. More than 50 types of waste are segregated in this green bank. Why we made the name also green bank is also there is a reason. Because this is a profit center as well. Your garbage is being sold. So this is a profit center as well overall. The 50% of this profit goes to staff welfare, and 50% of this profit goes to CSR projects. So it's been divided in 2 areas, and we normally make about 25,000 a month from selling the waste to recycle other products as well. Change hands. This also is part of the Green Bank project, and this was introduced last year in August. This idea came from our sustainability officer, Varuna. He just walked in and told us one day that there is an idea like this of change hands. There is a lot of clothes in our cupboards, which sometimes we don't know is just packed and kept in the in our cupboard. It can be shoes, it can be bags, it can be anything, ties, etc., etc. What we want to do here is, it may be no, I will not want that shirt or tie or the trouser, but one of my staff will need at present. So we open up this Change Hands project right now. We have distributed about 700 items so that every staff at the hotel or from home, they bring what is not being used at home to this Change Hand project. And right now, we only want to do it with our staff there, because there is a lot of staff who are taking on this. So we first wanted to make sure that our staff get it. Then our next turn is to do it to the community with time, how to go forward on this project. And we want to put this in our website. When the foreigners are coming from overseas, they also can bring some clothes, which is not important for them, but definitely that will be important for the community in Nuvarelia to share this clothes. So this Change Hand is a big project, and I think the credit should go to Varuna on the whole round. No Bin Day. Grand Hotel, every Wednesday, we call it the No Bin Day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What do you mean no bin? We don't have a bin at our staff dining room for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now this has been very well set up for the last 2 years at the Grand Hotel. Our chefs also makes the menu. If it's fish, without bones. If it's chicken, without bones. So that what you want to eat, the staff will take. Staff can serve 3 or 4 times even, but they will not waste any food. Including myself, to all staff on Wednesday, we go to this restaurant, the staff dine for No Bin Day. We practice 1 day a week, that is 52 days for a year. And the saving of waste, food waste, is about 2,028 kilos. Just imagine if we do it for 2 days a week, that is 104 days, it will be about 4,100 kilos of waste can be saved. So this is a small exercise, but there is a big impact. So when we do a hotel tour, we take the guests also and explains this. So this helps us even in the restaurant, when they serve in the buffet, they have a mindfulness how they will serve their food to, so that they are seeing this, the staff practice this kind of things, and they take a lot of photographs of this and to go and work with their organizations when they get back home as well. The live cooking station is another one. I think 90% of the Grand Hotel buffet is action. We don't have chef-in dishes, 0 chef-in dishes overall. So even for breakfast, coconut sambal is made front of the guest. Kolakanda is made of front of the guest, and any dishes, so that you get fresh items to the guests and you don't even waste a single food because it's just made front of the guests. So this has helped us to be different on the food saving as well. Clean Plate Challenge. Last year, World Environment Day, we were all on lockdown. And we had about 40 staff staying with us in the hotel. And we couldn't celebrate the World Environment Day, which we are all belongs to. So we all came out with an idea. We said what we can do together, because we can't vote and we can't do anything different. But we had 40 staff. Again, this idea came from our environment officer. He said, let's do a clean plate challenge for lunch. So that what we did, we all saved the same amount of food, and we had 40 chairs and tables. And what we did, we had a criteria how to eat the style and not to waste, and who will eat first, but still finish the whole plate. So this helped us in a big way. And after that, we did about 2-3 times in different form, so that the whole hotel will learn about this clean plate challenge, so that you will have a clean plate. So that today there is 1/3 of the world only can eat 3 meals. 2/3 of the world is eating 2 meals, and 1/3 doesn't eat meals. So we have got an opportunity to eat all three meals. So the staff has understood that we will not waste food. So this has helped us to go forward. Straws, I think I mentioned this in my speech as well. In 2018, we came out of straws, the plastic straws. We all know uh, how much damage this plastic straw give to the environment. You know, it takes 200 years for one plastic straw to be decomposed. So you can imagine for a month or a day at Grand Hotel, we have 9 food and beverage outlets. And for a day, we used about 800 to 900 straws. And today we have stopped that straw and we have made use of the paper straw. Coming back to paper straw also, this we don't serve it to all the guests. We only serve it to on request. So this has helped us to take it forward as well. Pet waste. This is at the Green Bank. We convert our plastic waste to yarn for clothes and household items. If you see pet waste, from pet waste, we have already started with a supplier. We do brushes, and these brushes have been taken for housekeeping and kitchen purpose. So we have convert our plastic bottles into plastic brushes, and we are now right now working with a supplier if we can do a kitchen staff uniform with this as well. So it will take us further up as well. 3R concept was introduced in 1976 to the world: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Mr. Ravi De Silva, sustainability consultant and engineer, former of Spence, he's the one who came out with this concept of 7R concept in 2015. Reject, reduce, reuse, repair, reclaim, replace, and recycle. This was the buzzword in the hotel industry. And with time, because there are a lot of guests coming to see Kandalama operation, and it went for garment factories to bar, other organizations as well, like the banks, etc. So Mr. Ravi De Silva should be given the credit for this with the whole team of Kandalama staff for introducing this, and the savings of all this 7R concept came in big handy to the bottom line. So I think this has helped Kandalama to take it to the different level. 12R concept, advanced version of R concept by the Grand. Because we are a hotel with 196 years old culture. So to bring this environment concept was not easy for us 3 years ago. So what we did, we came out with a 12R concept. What do you mean a 12R concept is responsible? You need to be first responsible. So we educated all staff to be responsible and to rethink. And from there, rewards. Rewards is where the bottom line, the service charge have been, then the 9R, reuse, repair, reclaim, replace, refill, rot, recycle, refuse, and return. I love to explain this, but there is no time for me to explain this further. But this 12R concept can be used even in school, even in house, even in any organization. So as I said, Kandalama was a design hotel from the start for sustainability. Grand Hotel was not designed, and we can't say that we can't be sustainable. Today, this 12R concept has helped us to be very sustainable with overall what we do. And I just want to take one example. I know I'm a little bit, my time has gone up, but give me about another 3 minutes to just finish my presentation. This is a freezer compressor. Now, because there is 12R concept, this was brought by one of our engineering supervisors and said, what we can do with this is to sell this to metal. The easiest thing is to sell this to metal. But what this engineering supervisor did was he opened this, and we got about a liter oil on this as well, which we can use to clean machines, etc. Sorry. And take the other parts to make use for other things as well, and sell the metals separately, reuse the nuts and bolts as well. Sustainability compass. This is where Grand Hotel has come out with a sustainability compass with 12 committees. 12 committees means sustainability compass is north, east, west, south. North is nature, east is economic, S is society, W is well-being. So with these 12 committees, whole staff is being divided for different purpose, so that has helped us to be different. And sustainability compass aim is to cover all the United Nations 17 sustainable development goals. Sustainability accommodation certification, I'll just touch on Travel Life. Travel Life is a very important document and a certification for any hotels all over the world. And this is a very important thing. There is 163 areas, criteria for us to follow to get this Travel Life, the best practices in different forms. So we started this 3 years because we were an old hotel, a heritage hotel with the 12-hour concept. We started this 2 months ago. We are also been certified as a Travel Life certified hotel in the world. Social work, blood donation, we do about 80 to 100 donors get involved in blood donation. Grand Situam, this is also 28 hotels 28 schools in and around in Norelia. We do a competition. This art competition is 100% designed for sustainability. In 3 categories, we give them a topic, and every year we have this. So the whole area in Norelia get closer to nature, and they in school itself, they learn this sustainability. So we are doing this for the last 15 years at the Grand Hotel. Kiddies party for around 150 less privileged kids in the community. There are a lot of children who can't go for a party or a Christmas party. So what we do is, when it close to Christmas, we bring about 150 children from in and around, and we give them the school bags and shoes every year and a personalized gift as well. We do a medical camp for around 2,000 people in and around Norelia every year. And there is a team of doctors who come from Colombo and help us on this project as well. And our staff members, family, as well as our staff get involved in this medical camp, and so that everyone is well-beings are being protected from this camp as well. Tourism, how to make tourism unmissable as well. We have brought in sustainability in. So, every April, we have a potato festival. What we do is we get all the potato farmers in and around for this festival. This year also, we have it from 9th to the 18th of April. So what we do is we get involved with the farmers, and we make about 150 varieties of food, from potato jam, from potato burgers to potato roti, potato ice cream to potato cocktails. That is our April plan. If you take August, is our strawberry festival. Again, in Norelia, you have a lot of strawberry growers. We'll bring in all the strawberry growers, and we have a strawberry festival also for almost 2 weeks every August. And in December, we have a tea festival. That's also, we have big, estate owners, but we bring in small tea estate guys, locally grown guys to this tea festival. Again, we do this for 2 weeks. So overall, developing tourism through sustainability also, we have brought in 3 festivals to Norelia on a yearly basis. If we can at the Grand Hotel, why can't you? If a 196-year-old heritage property not built for sustainability can safeguard the environment, why can't the rest of the country do this? There is a small 1-minute video on Norelia and the Grand Hotel. Just enjoy this for a minute, and I'll close my speech after that.
The Grand Hotel in Norelia is proud to preserve much of the most important life up in the hills of 38 acres in the montane cloud forest region. The premises consist of natural forests, home gardens, and farmlands. In here, nearly 300 species of wild plants can be found in the preserved forest patch, including rare endemic plants. 40 species of birds have been recorded in the hotel premises, including 8 endemic species and 7 migrant species. In the premises, you could also find 9 species of mammals, 3 types of lizards, which are all endemic, and interestingly, 5 species of frogs are also recorded, all of them being endemic to the country and only could be found in the mountain region. 20 different types of butterflies and 6 types of dragonflies have been recorded from the hotel gardens by recent researches conducted by the resident naturalist. Our planet's biodiversity provides all the things we need for free. More biodiversity, the more secure life on Earth is, including ourselves. Only when life is at its most varied, vigorous, biodiverse can we hope to thrive. Let us together protect Mother Nature for the survival of our planet Earth.
The conclusion, call to everyone, reduce your footprint and go green. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We go to Grand Norelia for a good cup of tea and mouth-watering food and the accommodation, the hospitality that you provide. But we never knew that the base was this, because now it adds a lot of the weight, what we've been experiencing. And I think it's a good lesson and model for the industry practitioners as well, as you mentioned. And indirectly or directly, you said like you can save a lot of money, and it's a very important thing. And again, we really love that you are empowering your staff and how you contribute the CSR projects. And I think there was a huge message and a challenge that you have given to the audience and the industry from this webinar. So thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Moving forward, I would like to introduce an expert who is working for the Sri Lankan United Nations Development Program, Mr. Ramitha Wijethunga. He's the National Project Coordinator for Biodiversity Finance Initiative in Sri Lanka. If I explain a little bit about him, his coordination of different stakeholders representing different sectors, including environment, finance, policy planning, agriculture, and other biodiversity-related industries, as well managing the consultants hired for the project with the guidance of the Chief Technical Advisor, developing policies and media brief, supporting advocacy campaigns to create sustainable financing mechanism for biodiversity conservation and management in the country. So, Mr. Ramitha, we would like to ask from you, we would like to get your expertise on what are the key challenges for Sri Lanka. What are the key challenges Sri Lanka is facing in developing, promoting, and sustaining collaborative partnerships for sustainable tourism?
Thanks, Madushan. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Actually, if we go to the question you asked about the key challenges, basically we see that not having a medium to long-term policy on sustainable tourism and promoting, basically not having this urge to develop the country as a sustainable destination. I think it is the biggest challenge or barrier we are having for the moment. And we see some issues related to, fragmented institutions as well, because certain institutes, they have some, responsibilities, but unfortunately, enforcement of certain, complementary policies or practices are with some other institutions. So institution collaboration, coordination is a key, important, essential, importantly thing, but unfortunately that is not happening. As well as we see that most of the time we have a lot of emphasis on achieving people-centered SDGs, sustainable development goals, rather than on this prosperity and planet-related ones, where this sustainability tourism comes into the picture. So these are the main issues. If you ask me what are the key challenges we are facing, I would think those are the key challenges. Thank you. Actually, just to reiterate the few things, Madushan, shall I go into a little bit of details of it, if it is okay?
Sure, Mr. Ramitha, if you think it's necessary to answer, please.
Yeah, because I think the global partnerships, you asked me how global partnerships are important in the context of developing sustaining green tourism initiatives in the country. I would like to take this, in the context of three bottom line, the social, economic, and ecological perspectives as well. Let me, detail out in 3 areas related to these 3 bottom line areas. If you take the tourism, as previous presenters also mentioned, that the patterns of tourism are now changing. That's a kind of a fact nobody can refuse. So solo travel is becoming very popular. People who love nature, culture, adventure, wellness tourism, they are coming into the market, especially the millennials, as Mr. Irfan mentioned. There is a big demand for these type of value propositions rather than the traditional value propositions we offer to the tourists. So this with the change of markets, we have basically 2 options. One is either to adapt to that demands, or to go extinct like dinosaurs. So basically now our challenge is driven. So we have to definitely adapt to the situation. So that requires us to provide a unique experience in a uniform manner, and that should be a kind of quality experience for the tourists. So this is, I think, I don't have to go into details about the tourism related things because you are experts on that. But basically, ensuring that each and every guest will receive this unique, quality, different experience is a kind of challenge to our industry as well. So that is why we are promoting this national level certification programs for sustainability, etc. Mr. Irfan mentioned about accommodation sector, but now we are going into the destinations, and in future, hopefully we would be able to cover the 2 operations as well. So basically, our intention is to offer a kind of affordable, nationally and internationally accepted certification for all the tourist service providers in the country. That is from the tourism side. Let me analyze something related to the biodiversity side or the nature side as well. We all know Sri Lanka is one of the major diverse, if you consider the Sri Lankan biodiversity, we have one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world. But unfortunately, we are one of the hotspots. Only one of the 36 worldwide hotspot. Sri Lanka is one of the hotspots. So that means basically, even though we are having a lot of diversity, unfortunately, more than 70% of it's already lost. So we have to take a lot of precautions, lot of actions to, at least to conserve what we are having for the moment. Same time, if you look at the investments we are making on the biodiversity side, we are one of the countries with lowest biodiversity related investments. If you really analyze the public investments on biodiversity related subjects, less than 0.05% of our GDP goes into the biodiversity related investments. But if you look at the earnings we are making, if you really analyze the tourism earnings of 2018 even, more than 25% of it comes from the tourism related to nature and culture. So those lifelines we are basically neglecting, to be frank. So for the biodiversity sector, it is important to have kind of, diversifying financing, instruments, because the public sector is having a lot of issues related to increasing its investments on biodiversity conservation and management. So tourism sector is one of the best avenues available for biodiversity sector as well. So it is not only kind of one-way argument that always biodiversity supports the tourism, but the other way is also true, because Sri Lankan biodiversity is also requesting a lot of support from the tourism sector, and that can come from various ways, like realignment of investments, avoiding future costs of reclaiming, damage flows, as well as increasing the efficiency of the existing this thing. So while tourism can gain from the biodiversity, biodiversity can also gain from the tourism area. So this is the second area I want to emphasize on. And the third area is that if you look at the broad picture, the sustainable development goals, as I think Haritha also mentioned a couple of minutes ago, that tourism sector is one of the major accelerator that we have identified for the Sri Lanka. So tourism sector can create a lot of impact on several SDGs, SDG 1, 5 on gender equality, even though for the moment tourism is not a key area that provides a lot of employment opportunities for women, but the potential is very high. The decent work and economic growth, SDG number 8, SDG number 12 for responsible consumption and production, SDG number 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, especially the global partnerships for developing these institutions. So all these three areas, SDG as an SDG accelerator, as a innovative financial solution for biodiversity sector, as well as to support the emerging market needs of tourism. I think green tourism or sustainable tourism is a proposition that we can't forget about. So in this context, I think the partnerships, global partnerships, are really important because that can be used to generate data, as well as support a lot of research that are important for the sector. Come up with certification, as I mentioned earlier, also develop the capacity, because South-South as well, I mean global South-South as well as global South-North, or any other interpolations can be supported through global partnerships, and of course the global best practices can be brought in to support the situation in Sri Lanka, as well as identifying different roles and responsibilities of different players, and promote public-private partnerships, and promote tourism, green tourism products. For many of the areas, global partnerships can be instrumental for a country like Sri Lanka. I think that explains why global partnerships are important for the tourism sector in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. I was thinking. Yes. So as you are mentioning, as a representative of the UNDP, it was a very strong message, that statement that you gave about the current situation of our biodiversity and resources in Sri Lanka, which is like the talk of the town right now. We hear a lot of things from media as well, because it's very important, because like for the future generations, it's very really important, as you mentioned. And UN is a very large organization where they, as you mentioned, like they have different programs for different areas. Lots of countries have succeeded by the aid of the UN. I would just like ask a short question, Ms. Ramitha, just a general short question to end the discussion. What do you think, like when it comes to UN and Sri Lanka's partnership, like what will be the latest additions that we might get from that side, sir?
Related to tourism sector,
maybe sustainability, the environment, or
yeah, okay, yeah, thank you very much. Actually, as you know, this sustainable tourism goals are there, and UN is one of the organizations that Sri Lanka could use to ensure that Sri Lanka will achieve SDGs by 2030, as well as take part in the global discussions where we could get the support we need, because it's a UN is a kind of it's an association of all the countries. It's a multilateral it's an intergovernmental organization. So the Sri Lankan government can easily take part in the UN discussions, UN collaborations, and it's like they can get the support of these global partnerships for the benefit of Sri Lanka. It is not only for the government sector, but for the private sector and civil society organizations as well. So as I mentioned earlier, it is not only limited to one area, but all across the SDGs, you could take the advantage of UN being in the Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka being a member of the UN from the very beginning, I think last 70 odd years. Lot of sustainability related issues Sri Lanka is facing, they are not individual to this country. Many other countries are facing the same type of issues. So this UN, through the UN, Sri Lanka could learn the experiences of others and learn what we could do, especially related to those SDG related issues. Plus that, under the UNWTO, lot of new data, new research findings are coming up, new research, new recommendations are coming up. Those things can be easily used to the benefit of the country. And as I mentioned earlier, we are even now supporting the government of Sri Lanka to develop a new tourism policy, new tourism strategic plan, tourism, certification systems, capacity building of the key tourism agencies in the country and all that, because it's a kind of area that we should put a lot of emphasis on, because if you really consider that is the second net foreign exchange earning industry of the country. So it has a huge potential, and UN is there to support the country to achieve its ambitions towards that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramitha, because as you mentioned, we all hope that Sri Lanka will be a better place in 2030 with the support of the UN as well. So thank you very much. Moving forward again, I would like to introduce one of the most important person, being our mentor and the person who directs us for all these achievements and aspirations. Professor Suranga Silva, who is the coordinator of the So he is the coordinator for the tourism study programs in the Colombo University. He will join with us to do the closing remarks and the vote of thanks. Professor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the support, more specifically the most valuable resource persons. Dr. Haritha Wedathanthrige, research consultant, value chain, local economic and economic development sector, Australia. Mr. Irfan Rasi, general manager, the Grand Hotel in Gorelia. Professor Sanjay Nadkarni, director of innovation and research, the Emirates Academy of Hospitality Management, UAE, and Mr. Ramitha Wijethunga, National Project Coordinator, United Nations Development Program, Sri Lanka. So it is no doubt that the most valuable thought and insight you have been given us, so valuable, and it is very useful for the for our students to develop the basic policy brief for making Sri Lanka more green tourism in near future. We have been seeing that through your all the insights, valuable knowledge sharing. We can see that the customers are different. They are in their demand patterns, and their demand patterns are changing and challenging for the industry, particularly under the new normal situations. We have seen that through very fantastic presentation made by our resource person, Mr. Irfan, and Mr. Ramitha, and Professor Sanjay, and Dr. Haritha. So your presentation, we can summarize. The affluent tourists are seeking more green tourism product, and the wealthier tourists are seeking more healthier tourism product under new normal. So now, how do we adjust our industry for green tourism? It must be very challenging task right now. Specifically, we have to see green in Sri Lanka tourism must be the prosperity of the country. So in that case, Dr. Haritha very clearly mentioned that green financing. So most of the people are thinking that tourism, making green tourism could be costly for the organizations. But Mr. Irfan has very clearly indicated that it is not costly, it is a great investment. Future, you will be getting more tourists, you will be getting more lucrative income. So in that case, we must be realistic rather than the pessimistic or optimistic. So if we look at the realistic scenario, we can see Sri Lanka ranking in the global development. Sri Lanka rank as 87th out of the 138 countries in the Global Knowledge Index. At the same time, Sri Lanka is ranked as 110th place out of the 147 countries Global Innovation Index. Sri Lanka is ranked as a 77th place Global Travel and Tourism Competitive Index. Sri Lanka is ranked as 72 out of the 189 countries in Human Development Index. And Sri Lanka is ranked as a 109th place out of 180 countries in the Environmental Performance Index. So fortunately, Sri Lanka is the best 9th country in the world for giving index. So it is very clearly indicated that Sri Lankans have a great hospitality. Inside, when you look at the global ranking, we are in the 9th place. So now we must be realistic. How do we go ahead? It is a very challenging task. So we in the University of Colombo and the academia, we have realized that we have to learn from the global best practices. So that is why we have invited Professor Sanjay Nadkarni, because he is a very prominent professor in this sector, specifically technology development for green tourism. And Dr. Haritha has done a very good elaboration for how we can make profitable business through a green product of Sri Lanka tourism. So Mr. Ramitha has very clearly mentioned that partnership is very important. Whatever we do, the partnership is creating the synergy effect that is more vital for the development of any industry. So therefore, the most important part is now we must go forward under new normal scenario. Therefore, education, awareness, and empowering the industry is a very important vital factor for the success of Sri Lanka tourism in making greener product, greener tourism, and attracting more affluent tourists and wealthier tourists to Sri Lanka. So in that case, we are expecting your future contributions. So we would like to see continuous support. Now we are about to start sustainable tourism certification program. I think Mr. Ramitha's contribution would be very vital. We have been contacted by GSTC, and Dr. Mihi, she has promised that the program can be conducted with this program with the University of Colombo. So I believe that partnership and synergy is the most important for any kind of success. So now under new scenario, we have a great hotelier, general manager, Mr. Rifan, and we have a technology expert, Sanjay, Prof. Sanjay Nadkarni, and at the same time, the financial expert in green tourism, and Dr. Haritha, and the partnership expert, Mr. Ramitha. So thank you very much for your great help, and looking forward to see your support. At the same time, I must be thankful to my students doing the Masters in Tourism Economics and Hotel Management, and all the participants. Now we have 74 participants. That is actually at this time for more than 2 hours we have conducted this webinar. The participants must be really grateful for your participation, because without your participation, we won't be able to get success our webinar. We will promise here with our students are going to develop the policy brief on how we can develop Sri Lanka tourism, more greener Sri Lanka tourism, in addressing the demand patterns, eminent demand pattern and growing demand pattern of new tourists under new normal. So thank you very much, and looking forward to see you again. Your best support for the next webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Now we will end the webinar with the hope of prospering Sri Lanka with the green tourism. So thank you very much, everybody. Again, thank you very much.